Yo, what's up, legends? Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to part 2 of the Making a Rave techno future rave big room song from scratch. Obviously you guys love this. It seems to do really well, and obviously it's fun for me as well. It's always kind of scary having a blank project for most of you guys, so hopefully this helps you kind of formulate your ideas and get things going. Before we get into the project, I have some good news for you. If you're a Patreon, the Back to the Future sample pack, my new rave culture track, is out now on Patreon. Just go hit the latest post and just download it straight away. Absolutely fire. And also Rave Ready Samples, there was a brand new project file, project template released. Sick big room techno template with a crazy kick and also really nice leads. I'll post a little clip of what it sounds like. So if you want that project file and the sample pack, all you need to do is hit the link in the description, take your music to the next level. Let's jump into our track now. And it's also cool, might be able to use the Back to the Future samples in this track as well. But so far we have this.
We can all go. Close your eyes.
So this definitely works in a club so far. It's got that energy, it's got that drive and rhythm. There's a few things like listening to it now that I want to change. For example, I think there should be a more solid bass, like a rolling bass line in there. So we've got this right now, and this thing as well. But what I need is like a real psytrance driving bass line. For example, in the Back to the Future, there's a 6 psytrance bass line. Like, I wonder if we could take one of these shots. So obviously it's in a different BPM and key, I believe. What key are we in? We're in E, so it's a different key. So it might not stretch too well if you're using FL Studio. However, see what we can do here. This might not be the one, to be honest, but we're gonna try quite a few different ones here. So let's see if this works. That is not what we want. All we want is one of these shots. So we're just gonna fix it like this. Bet most of you didn't know how to do this. This is a magnificent little trick if you've got like a big loop from Splice. Just like if you're on the workspace here and you kind of stretch it that way, you're going to lose a lot of like the transient and sound. So I would always recommend put it in here and stretch and pick that one part that you want. I've done this with leads so many times. I take a drop loop from Splice and I cut just one part and make my own lead from it. So this sounds pretty nice. And now we're going to draw our MIDI in. So it's going to be quick maths, F sharp, F E. Obviously that's way too low. Okay, it shouldn't be playing in there. Big mistake. So we put it back in here and we're just going to duplicate this. So that first note, this is Psytrance 101. We just need this first note to be a little bit less, have a little bit less velocity than the rest. So it gets that groove there. So let's see if we can make this fit within the mix. Just make sure I haven't put it over something else. Yeah, it should be good. And of course, because I like to make this as easy as possible for you guys, I'm even going to name it so you know what you're looking at. Yeah, that sounds pretty tight. Let's see with the other bass. See, it's going to be hard to make these two work. I'm going to put more of the focus on this sound in, like, I would say the low mids, and that crispy, trancey bass line will be probably focused more on the high mids. So let's take this off first of all. So first up, this has a bass line in there, a sub bass in there that we just don't need. We have a massive sub bass already. So yeah, just reducing some of the high end there just to see what it sounds like more. It's just like a low techno kind of bass line as opposed to a psytrance. So we're just trying to make these two fit together now. See if we can make this a little bit sharper and shorter here with the transient master.
Close your eyes.
So what we're also going to try is another sound as well. Might work as a layer, but it also might work instead of this one. I like to have lots of different options because never just settle for the first thing you find. That's what I've learned. Sometimes you'll think, oh, this is it, but then you find another thing and it's like, wow, I'm so glad that I stuck it out for this. So let's try and find the sound that I'm looking for. Atonal, this big ugly thing. This might work a little bit better. Let's just, oh, that's definitely not what I wanted to do. So let's just try this one. We're going to process it the same way. Just stick it on 10 there. This one has a lot more like body and fullness. I think it's a little bit too long though with the release there. Let's see what this one sounds like. I mean, they could both work together, maybe. So we've gone from this. So what this has done is basically we've got a really good sub bass and really good leads, but there's kind of a gap there, and what we've done is filled it. Obviously this isn't perfect right now, but as you can hear, the whole production sounds way more full because we've kind of filled that gap. Obviously it needs a lot of work, so we're going to try and focus on that. I think basically what I'm hearing right now, it needs to be mono. This thing needs to be as tight as possible just so it doesn't take anything away from all the other sounds. All these elements need to be heard.
Your eyes.
Let's see if we can add like a layer to this sound. Let's go to the good old, I mean, what we're using now. We're using Nexus. Let's try Nexus again. It's done well for us so far. What we can do is copy this, and now let's see if anything stands out. That's what I'm going to do here. See if any of these sounds stand out to me. Okay, so this is interesting. This sounds very, very interesting. Because what it's doing, it kind of sounds like a big distorted reverb. Because this sound doesn't really have that attack, and I'm actually going to see if we can reduce the attack even more. Big difference. With a sound like this, Future Rave use these saw sounds all the time. So if you pile saw on top of saw on top of saw, all the same kind of frequency. So what you're going to do is just have phasing issues. So with a sound like that, it's very hard to layer Future Rave sounds together. But with this kind of sound, it's so in the background, it's perfect. A little bit of grit there as well. Can we improve the distortion a little bit? Oh, wrong one. Sounds pretty good. It's going to make the sound overall feel a little bit more filled. So those two things we've added, I'm going to turn them off and we're going to see the difference. I'm going to turn them back on after just playing this for a little bit the way we had it before. So this is what we had originally. Beautiful, this is good progress. So what I would do now is trying to formulate the break idea. I'm going to go for something quite simple. This is a club track, this is a club festival, whatever you want to call it. The aim for this track is to have something that will just... let's say I'm a DJ, I have my first show coming up. I'm a DJ virgin, and this is my big first show coming up. I want to play one of my own tracks. I think, being a DJ myself, played in Asia, in Europe, I kind of know that what works in both, and a simple tension break will always work. So I'm thinking some ARPs. I think Serum's the GOAT for this kind of stuff, because with Serum what you can do is you can open the cut off and you can do all the modulation stuff that you can't really do as well in Nexus. So we're gonna have like a simple melody. Let's get our... So we're in E, so we're just going to add like a simple ARP melody. So yeah, something like this can work. This just builds so much tension. It's a little bit techy, but it's also like quite dark. What we could do is start the melody like this, just constant tension, just all focused around that E note. So our bass note will be this. Then what we can do is keep that going, but maybe drop. Maybe down to C instead. Now in this part, we're gonna play with those top notes, I think, and try and give a little bit more melody to this up. Something like this. Sorry, that was a bit quiet there. I was just trying to. Honestly, with this kind of stuff, I'm just clicking these buttons, man. No musical theory. I still have not tried to learn the wonderful art of music theory. I'm just literally going off ears. I know these 12 notes like the back of my hand now, and I just see what works. This will always work, in my opinion. You know, you hear it a lot in like Will's stuff. I'm doing a lot of this as well because it's just something that always works. You've got this tension in the beginning, and then you've got where like the melody changes. So what we're going to do is have basically 16 bars of the melodic melody, and then what we're going to have is a 15-second build-up, which is going to come in here, 8-bar build-up, and then we're going to have a pre-drop, and I don't know if the vocal necessarily will work here as well. So something like this.
Close your eyes.
Then we have this kind of pre-drop where the synth gets teased. I'm not 100% sold on this right now. Maybe it's better to just go straight into the drop, but for now we'll keep it.
We can all go. Close your eyes.
So in the build-up, we go back to this like monotonous art melody. So just like this. Actually, yeah, so I have made a mistake here. Right, okay, schoolboy error. Is this the build-up? No. Yeah, so this is where the build-up is, Jesus. So that part, you can kind of hear that it's the build-up coming. It's just all back concentrating on that E note, and that's when the build-up and the tension is going to start from there. So let's find a nice sound. We need a nice rich sound. Let's go for, because I want something techy, so we're going to look for like a big room techno kind of sound. See if there's any cool like arps or synths. We're just going to take that bass away because obviously that's going to clash with some of these presets. And we're going to have our sub bass in there playing those notes anyway. So let's also try and find a nice little sub bass so we can kind of get the idea of how it's going to sound. Again, we'll go to a revealed pack, I would say, for this. Quick, easy, big room techno sounds. Yeah, we're looking for something, I would say like a Reese, but maybe not too in your face. A little bit low. More like this, I would say. Maybe we can change the bass note here as well. I just heard something there, like in my mind, so I just want to try it out. Yeah, this is nice. It's got a nice vibe. It's kind of changing all the time. It's building that tension throughout. That's what's good about techno. It's like builds that tension. It's not like EDM where it's just like hands in the air, big synths, then a little build up, then drop again. It's like really building the tension here. So this is good so far. Sounds I'm not 100% sold on, but this one is pretty nice. So what we're going to do is play with this sound, see what we can do. So I'm going to start with the brightness. We're going to insert a couple of lines here. So we're going to start with the brightness. I want this sound to change completely throughout this build-up. It's a monotonous kind of rhythm, right? So we want to change it. We want to make this sound design like work for us. So this is what we're going to do. Also going to work with the cutoff. And we're also going to work with... Also going to work with the dry wet knob. This is what's good about Serum. Presets are just loaded with so many different parameters that you can change. And we're also going to play with that oscillator A detune. We're going to make it slightly more detuned. Be careful with this. You don't want it to sound like too detuned or it's going to sound awful. So what we're going to have is make it go all the way up, build up, and then in the build up, we're going to bring everything down slightly. So... See how it just starts so quiet? We're going to process this sound. What I'm going to do is process this sound like this at its smallest point, like when it's the most thin possible. If we can get it to sound good at this point, it's going to sound crazy when it kind of mutates and gets more aggressive. Now with a sound like this, we want fullness, we want thickness. We don't want this to sound thin at all. So what we're going to do is just, we don't want to cut too much low end because there's not a crazy amount of sub there in that Reese. Now, reverb's going to be really important here. Now what we can do is build up some pads, some chords from this. So we're just going to not do that at all. We're going to add in pads. Now we're just going to use a quick Nexus preset, one that's been used for like 40, no, not quite 40, but like 30 odd years in the trance sound. We're just going to use the Airwave pad right now, and we're just going to try and build some saws, some pad chords. Put this in here like this. Now we're going to pay attention to our top notes, because these are the ones that change, and we're going to try and make that fit with this, like this. Obviously we want long notes when we're doing pads. Now, what we do here is we go down to the A note. So what we're going to have to do is make sure we do that, because if we stick with the same thing but the bass note changes, it's just going to sound weird. So it's in this section here, we go down to the A, and then the rest, I think, is similar to this, right? Yep. Now this is just the cutoff of the Nexus pad, so we're just going to open up the cutoff gradually like this, allow it to come in more subtle. Now with this, we have the bass down the middle, mono. We're going to have this ARP kind of in the middle. And then we're going to have these pads super wide, so everything can have their own space. We're going to have them super wide like this, and we're going to make sure they're EQ'd properly, because you don't want any of that low mud there. We can have the pad along here, just that tension note based around the root note. What we can do is have that there, but what I'm going to do is just reduce the cutoff so it gradually fades away. Let's see how the lead would sound being filtered up here. Yeah, this pre-drop thing I am not 100% sold on, so we're just going to move it over there for now. Let's use this though, and let's see how it sounds just dropping straight into it. What we can do though is have the vocal in the intro, in the build-up now. So we're just going to use these parts like this. Okay, that's sounding nice. Maybe we can introduce these hi-hats throughout the break just to pick up that energy a little bit. Maybe not that one, maybe this loop. I like to filter them up just because, again, you want the transition to be smooth. You don't want them to come out of nowhere. Try and build on these chords. So that's just going to build up the tension more. Now, is there any drum fills that haven't been overused yet? Oh, that one's nice.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, this pre-drop's way too quiet, so we really need to boost the volume here.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
The difference they make is crazy. So glad we added them in. The energy's just been picked up a lot there. So this is what we have. We kind of have the breakdown idea now. I was thinking maybe to use the Back to the Future a cappella in this, but I think maybe we'll keep with this so it's like a full-on like original track. This will be good. The new Back to the Future pack is fire. This is 145 BPM, the original. I like this tech shot as well. Gonna find a way to get this one in.
Close your eyes.
Good thing with this, we don't need to stretch the sample, so we don't lose any of that like transient.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Yeah, I really like that sound. Maybe it can work in the build-up as well. Yeah.
We can all.
Super techy sound. This top kick can be dope as well. Let's try that. Super heavy and super hard style sounding. Let's try and mix this a little better. Needs to be super subtle here.
Nice.
Now for the second part of the drop, we want to pick up the energy here. So what I want is like a simple saw sound, to be honest. I don't want something that's going to overshadow the main lead. So we've got like, let's just clone this one and just find like a subtle big room saw, I guess. Oh, I like that.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Just adds a little bit of something to the top end there. And I think that is pretty much it for today. I think we've made good progress now. We've got break 1 and the drop. Then we'll look maybe into like drop 2. Maybe we can go a little bit harder. Breakdown 2 is going to have to be a little bit different. And we just try and pick up the energies throughout the whole song. But this is what we have so far.
We can all go. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
So yeah, that lead was a little bit too loud there. We'll fix that next time. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and hope to see you guys in the next episode.